Hi friends, in this video let's learn how to delete a column or multiple columns in Python using Pandas module. For this example, I have a file called deletecolumns.csv which is located in my D drive. I have data starting from column A till column H, and these are my column names or column headers, and I've kept the data very simple so that it's easy for us to understand as we go along. By end of the video, we should be looking at having one or two columns left over. I'll be teaching you 5 different methods to achieve this. Without much delay, let's get started. Okay, so let's start by importing the pandas data frame. So I'm going to say import pandas as pd, and the next line we have to create a data frame. If you're totally unaware of how to import a pandas module or how to create a data frame, please watch my other videos in my playlist. And let me define data frame is equal to pd dot read underscore csv open bracket. I have it in my D drive, and the file name is delete columns dot csv, and I'm gonna hit control enter. It's reading the file. I'm going to the next line and let us see what do we have in the data frame. Okay, so we have the records like the column headers starting with A to H, and we have indexes starting from 0 to 3. That is, we know that the array starts from 0 in Python. Let's go to the new line and let's start with the first method. So in the first method, we'll be using the syntax del, that is delete. So I want you to make sure that you follow this sentence case or uppercase or lowercase thoroughly, Siddha, because Python does not accept anything other than what we have in the documentation. So del space, and what are we trying to delete? We are going to delete column A within this data frame. So data frame, open the square bracket and define the column name. My column name is A. Let's start in a chronological order. I'm going to say column, delete the column A. Control enter, and I'm going to the next line. Let's see the data frame. There you go. So column A has been deleted and we are left with column B to column H, right? So let's jump to the new line and let's learn the second method. So in this second method, what we are trying to do is we are going to use the drop syntax, and let's try to remove the columns. So data frame is equal to, I am telling the pandas or Python, make changes to the existing data frame. So either I can create a new data frame for this example, but I would love to have the changes happen in the same data frame. So data frame is equal to data frame dot drop, and we need to specify what columns are we trying to drop. So we have already dropped column A, so we are choosing column B, and let's hit control enter. It threw an error. Let's read what is the error all about. B not found in access. Okay, so there is a catch here. So we are specifying to remove column B, but Python does not recognize whether it is whether the B is column or is it a row. So we need to specify explicitly the access. So I'm going to say 1, 0 for rows and 1 is for columns. So when we specify 1, it means that so we are going to delete the column. Control enter, and I did not see any error now. Let's read the data frame, and now we have the data starting from C to H, right? So we learned how to remove a column using 2 different methods. Now let's try to see, instead of writing something which deletes itself, is there a way without specifying the data frame multiple times can we achieve the same using a single line? Okay, let's try to learn that. I'm going to the new line and I'm specifying data frame space drop open bracket, and then column name. So this time we are going to choose column C, and don't forget to put the index 1. So what different did we do here? So we have the same thing, the same syntax what we copied from the earlier example. The only thing is, instead of writing data frame is equal to, we are using another method or another syntax called in place is equal to true. So when you're specifying the boolean true, make sure the t is in the uppercase. If you write smaller t, it does not recognize. So what does this ideally do? There is not much of difference from the second method and the third method. The only difference is that instead of specifying the data frame itself, we are starting directly from the second part or the right hand side of the syntax, and we are specifying it to be true. That means whatever the changes you're doing here, let us do it for the main data frame itself. Control enter. Next column, I'm going to read the data frame, and column C is gone. That's good. So we are now thoroughly clear, and we are sure that how do we delete a column using pandas. But this is not a real life example. So it might happen that you might need to delete multiple columns in a data frame, and it need not be in a chronological order. So we try to delete A and B, C in a chronological order. Let's say you want to delete D, then F, and then H. That's quite possible, right? So let's learn how do we delete multiple columns. So for that, let me go to the new line, and let me start data frame is equal to data frame. I am following the first approach, or in this case like third approach. Data frame dot drop, nothing fancy. Since I have to specify multiple columns, I need to put this in a list. So I'm going to say data frame dot columns within the square bracket, another square bracket. This is for the syntax of data frame dot columns, but since we are specifying more than one column, I am going to use another square bracket, and let's learn the array of the data set. So as we can see, the rows is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. Even though we have 4 records, the Python recognizes at 3 records or 3 rows. It implies even for column as well. If even though the column 1 is starting with D, we have to read this as 0, 1, 2, 3. So let us try to delete 0, comma 1, or let's stick on to 1. So if we run this code, ideally it should remove column D and column E. I'll give few seconds, like are we missing anything here? Yes, we do. So we are missing the axis, comma 1. So it might happen that if you're not comfortable with adding values to 1 or 0, you can specify axis is equal to 1. So this explicitly tells you that sometime like 3-4 months down the line, if you miss out and if you start scratching your head, what does this 1 mean? This kind of syntax will make your life easy. So we are telling, yeah, we are going to delete column 1. Control enter. Let's go to the new line. Let's read the data frame. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Hopefully this works. There you go. Column D and E is gone. We have just achieved what we are trying to achieve. Okay, and the last method, that's the fifth method, is to delete multiple columns. Instead of using the column numbers or the locator, how about if we define the name itself? So sometimes it happens, it depends on people to people. If they are more comfortable in providing the column names than the column numbers, you can do that as well. So how do we do that? So let's try to learn the same thing. I'm going to copy this, paste it here. Instead of 0 and 1, can I use the column name? Let's try. Let's say F, and let me choose H instead of G. Control enter. So something went wrong. Let's see. Only integer slices, numpy arrays, booleans are valid indices. Okay, so I see what's going on. So we are trying to drop this, and we are specifying this as a column. So this won't work. This method will not work here. So if you're specifying the column names, the syntax should be dataframe dot drop, open the bracket, and then let's specify column F, comma, column G, sorry, column H. Something is wrong here. Oops, I missed the parenthesis. Column F and column H axis is equal to 1, and then I'll say in place is equal to true. Then control enter. It did not give me any error. Let me go to the new line. Oops, sorry. Data frame. There you go. We are left with only one column. So if I go back to my original data set, we started with column A and we landed having only one column. These are the 5 different methods what I know to delete a column or multiple columns. If you have more options or if you know multiple ways of doing this, please put those options in the comment section so that we all can read together and understand it. If you're looking for something to troubleshoot your pandas, or if you want to learn VBA or Bash script or Python, then you're in the right place. Do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.